Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, my apologies. I had to onboard on a different platform in order to be here. My sincere apologies to really start a little bit late. The technology was giving us a challenge, but welcome to the DTIC and Africa Business Leadership Institute collaboration webinar stroke masterclass. I would like to really welcome everyone and all the speakers that are going to share with us in this morning to the late afternoon. My name is Rendani Manenje, and I'm an Assistant Director from the Department of Trade and Industry Competition under the Export Branch. I would really like to welcome everyone and make everyone to feel free. I will be running, or I will be the captain of this boat together with Lebohang Norana Mkize from Africa Business Institute Leadership. So I believe that we're going to have a very interactive workshop today. So I really want to welcome everyone, and without really wasting much of a time, I would like to invite Mr. Stephen Mzoko to really give us a brief. Can you hear me? Is there no sound?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, because I'm surprised there are certain notes that are coming in that are saying no sound. I don't know whether it's somebody's microphone on the other side, but I'm glad that majority can hear me. Yes, I was saying I would like to really, before I invite Stephen, to really invite Lebohang as well to make an introduction as a co-speaker, as a program director as well. Lebohang, the floor is yours.
Good morning and welcome to everyone who is on our call. We are so excited to be on this webinar in collaboration with the DTIC, and we know there is a lot that is in store for you to assist you in your drive to become export ready, to understand how it is that you can access new markets. The DTIC has an open door policy to assist any and every entrepreneur. And as Africa Business Leadership Institute, we are so humbled to be able to come to you today and share some insights on how you can access the market. We know we're getting people from all around the continent. It's not just South Africans who are on this call, but I know that our CEO will be able to share a little bit more on what you can expect in his welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rendani.
Okay, thank you so much, Lebohang. By so saying, I would really like to invite the CEO from Africa Business Leadership Institute, Mr. Stephen, to really take the podium and really give us a bit of introduction remarks. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. You can take the floor. Lebo, is Stephen not available?
He should be connected. Stephen Chikojo, please can you connect to the call? Stephen Chikojo is the Chief Executive for Africa Business Inc., a company he co-founded to ensure that we develop entrepreneurs, that we create a thriving ecosystem for the startup economy across the African continent. It is headquartered in South Africa, but has a presence in a number of regions. I'm hoping, Stephen, that as I'm talking,
That participated. By looking at those number of
unmute, you will unmute yourself and put your video on and begin to join. But while we're waiting for him, I'll just speak a little bit more about the construct of Africa Business Inc. One of our divisions is Africa Business Leadership Institute, which is the one that has partnered with the DTIC. It's the arm that is facilitating training and professional development for entrepreneurs, and we run accelerator programs. We have courses that we structure, including the series of masterclasses. In Women's Month, we had a number of ones focused for the women. And since then, we have moved to focus on trade and across the continent, with a spotlight right now on those who are coming from the South Africa side into the rest of Africa. We also have the Africa Business Connects, which is the arm of the business that is focused on developing and curating special meetings, incentives, conferences. We are partnered with Tanzania Startup Association, where we will be co-hosting the Tanzania Startup Week, and we invite you to participate in that. It's an amazing trade opportunity, trade platform opportunity. It has over 2,000 startups that participate from the East Africa side. We are also working on the Tech and AI conference, which will be coming up in 2026. So far on that one, we'd already worked on hosting a competition called the African Solutions Hackathon. And I do see we have Mr. Chikojo, who has just been spotlighted. So I'm going to stop here and hand over to him to carry on with his introduction. You are most welcome. You are muted.
Thank you so much, Lebo. Thank you for taking the QY. I was trying to just address a few things that had technically arisen. I want to thank you, everyone who is joining today. I want to start by saying good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Today, we welcome you to the Africa Business Connect Masterclass series. Today, Wednesday, 5 November 2025, we bring together some of the brightest minds in Africa, the boldest thinkers, the most passionate change makers from South Africa and across the continent and beyond. As you can see, the organizers are ready. The facilitators are ready. The attendees are ready. Africa is ready. For more than 200 impact leaders joining us live on Teams today, and for the innovators, dreamers, and doers tuning in from around the world on YouTube, this is your moment. And as we experience today's masterclass, proudly brought to you by the DTIC and the Africa Business Leadership Institute, we are excited to share the transformative opportunities available to you through our vibrant ecosystem. At Africa Business Inc., Lebo was just explaining moments ago, we have a dynamic and diversified organization committed to advancing business development, driving growth strategies, and accelerating economic progress from across the continent. With a portfolio of agile business units, we are strategically positioned to harness Africa's vast potential, delivering innovative solutions and services designed for your success. We empower business, entrepreneurs, professionals, and governments through comprehensive suite of tailored products that meet evolving needs of both African and global markets. Our ecosystem operates through 5 specialized units: Africa Business Connects, which facilitates high-profile events and premier networking opportunities; Africa Business Leadership Institute, which delivers professional training and leadership development programs; Africa Business Investments, focusing on venture capital and other strategic investments; Africa Business Connect, providing expert consultancy to support sustainable business growth; Africa Insights, offering credible news, business intelligence, and market analysis to drive informed decision-making. Together, these units contribute to our mission to drive economic transformation and create vibrant, interconnected business ecosystem across Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day. This is where ideas meet opportunity, where collaboration fuels transformation, and where Africa takes another step towards owning its future. So let's get ready to master the game. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Chikoza, for such a brief introduction and some word of encouragement to say, indeed, let's gather together and really make this day impactful to get as much information as we can. Without wasting time, I would like to invite Mr. Solomon Engelbrecht to really give us a brief introduction and overview with regard to the DTIC or the EDS program, especially the Global Export Passport Program. Mr. Solomon Engelbrecht, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Manenze, and good morning to everyone. My name is Solomon Engelbrecht from the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition. Everyone probably then will realize that now, right now, we're faced with the challenge around the world of the changing economies, of which requires us as government and the private sector then now to really then now to think and see how best then now we can assist our companies so that then they can thrive in this changing environment business on its own. We therefore then now from our side deem it fit that then we need to probably then now prioritize stakeholder engagement with number of stakeholders so that we can see that from the trade agreements that has been signed, through the DTIC side with different markets around the world, that we involve the private sector. We make sure that we work with the private sector. As then now we need to probably then work on the catch-up system in terms of the business globally. We still probably then now being guided by the trade agreements that have been signed by the DTIC, representing the country with different markets. In this case, probably then prioritizing Africa, as the biggest market for us on its own, possible market that actually then now can give small and medium-sized companies then now and business in terms of the proximity. If you look at the SADC market on its own. Now, how we basically do that, we go around the country, then now we promote what is export is all about, create the export culture amongst the potential companies who got product and services to export. Those of which then now are interested, we introduce them to the capacity building, different interventions of the capacity building, so that they can understand what is export it's all about, so that then now they can have their own strategy that they believe in to focus on a particular market. Because as a small company, you cannot be all over the world. But then now it is our view that you need to start small and focus in a particular market. So these interventions that we provide assist our companies then now to be more focused in a market and have in-depth understanding of the market that they actually then wish to thrive in as well. We also then now provide other probably opportunities that probably then come from our different offices around the world in terms of the trade lease. And then we share that information, disseminate that information to companies of which they're now registered with the DTIC to receive that information. If you are definitely interested to receive that, you're more than welcome, to send us an email. We'll assist you accordingly so that you can also receive this information as well. We work very much close with the likes of the Export Council and other industry players, in the space that are there to work with small companies and make sure that these companies actually then now do understand the industry, benefit, and also then now assist them to pave a way into exporting as well. So these organizations then now are our partners. We work with them very much closely. Those companies probably wish to know more about those industries. You're more than welcome. We're actually inviting you to contact us so that we can introduce you to them accordingly as well. With that, we hope that now the information probably then now it will be probably as form a base for companies interested into exporting to think about exporting carefully then now. We also have, the promotion lake, of which then now is geared towards assisting companies to be introduced in different markets. Our colleagues will be alluding to that very much specifically in terms of the assistance that has been provided by the DTIC on its own. Our mandate, ladies and gentlemen, is to make sure that then now majority of companies within South Africa that then now starts to think about exporting so that then we can grow our economy, create employment, and make sure that that brand South Africa that now is known worldwide. In this case, we see Africa being a market for us. Let's capitalize on that. As then the speakers then will probably then now detailing how best you can actually benefit from these large economies on its own. We'll be waiting for you with questions and inquiries, how best we can assist you going forward. With that, I'd like to thank you all. Thank you very much, Mr. Manenze.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Engelbrecht, for such a good words of introduction and introduction remark as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now start with the program of the day. Lebo, if you allow me to let you introduce our visionary leader, the agribusiness consultant, if you can introduce our speaker, whom we really nominated as one of the, we normally call it a successful story. Somebody who have walked the journey in the domestic business, somebody who have walked the journey, and he is still walking the journey in the export market. I will allow my program director, Lebo, to really introduce Dr. Mukiti to the floor. Lebo, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So we are honored to have Miss Dr. Mutikita Tiofi, an agribusiness consultant, a seller of avocados, organic avocados, macadamia nuts, and honey through his business, which is called Agris Limited. He is a distinguished agricultural engineer who has a PhD and MSc degrees in agribusiness management and project management. Dr. Mutikita's impact spans youth development initiatives and mentoring, collaborating with organizations like the National Youth Development Agency, the National Empowerment Forum, and Women Creating Wealth Africa. He is passionate about sustainable farming and advocates for innovation and empowerment in the agricultural sector. Dr. Mutikita's visionary leadership and dedication has earned him recognition as a trailblazer, driving growth and transformation while inspiring the next generation of agricultural leaders. And today, we are so excited that he is here to share his journey of success as a recipient of training and support from the DTIC's export initiatives. We are so honored to have you on this call. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. I'm all smiles when you are introducing me. I was like, oh, okay. They even know what I didn't send them. But I'm glad I'm with you today. Morning, everyone. Allow me to first appreciate the DTIC for always being there for us. Always they are there, and I want to give at least an encouragement to someone who has never thought their time will come. And I will tell you why. Because over the years, I've been working since 2012. I've been on business under AgriCre leadership. And sometimes you think things won't arrive. 2023, I made an application with the DTIC for export training with the trade in Germany. It was one of the life-changing opportunities that I received. As a company that is more in agribusiness, training of farmers, one of the things that we wanted to achieve was to make sure that even the voice of those that cannot be heard can be heard. These are the smallholder farmers. And we use that opportunity when we are with the DTIC. So my story lines like this. I was paired with a mentor during the training. That's I'm starting with this so that you are aware that it does not start when you are on the export. It starts from the beginning when you are paired, when you are being trained before you visit whatever export. So I was paired with one mentor who was, you know, he got all the information about export. While going to Germany, it was easy for us because already we've identified companies that we can meet when we were there. So I identified 3 companies while I was still in South Africa. We even start engaging on LinkedIn with them, and we had our appointments. So the first day while I was in Germany, we got an opportunity to go through the stalls or the supermarkets around. What caught my eyes was the product that I produce, which was avocados. I looked at the avocado that I see and I look at the avocado that I have. And I said, let me buy this avocado. So I buy 2. The one was to taste, to check the quality. And the one was because the following day I was going to meet the owner of the or the management of the supermarket. So I had to have the 2 samples so that I can explain the difference with ours. On us, it was very simple because already I had the product that I wanted to challenge to say, this is what we can offer. Then on the meeting, I remember they asked me, what is your unique selling point? I was like, I'm all organic. So my produce are organic. And people were like, it cannot be organic. So I have to produce certificates for that. Our journey with the Germans resonates from the pillars of export. You cannot run away from them. Compliance is key to everything. I have found so many people saying they produce organic produce, but when they say provide proof, which is compliance, in most of us, we find it wanting. Fortunately, on my side, I already have done the work in terms of compliance, the global gap certificates. We already have the sanitary certificates. We already have the export license. We already have the certificate of analysis, because in most cases the fresh produce, they need to be certified on the analysis side, so we know our MRL. So when we submit those, it was, for them, it was a way to go. But the important part now lies when, now I got a deal, but I need to make sure that the product reach the destination still fresh as promised. The issue of quality assurance becomes key to us. It starts from the farm. The work that we do on the farms, it's very amazing with the farmers that we work with. It makes life easier. At most times, I tell people that recording or record keeping is key in production. So if you don't have record keeping, it becomes difficult for you to have quality assurance for your produce. So that was a proper documentation for us on the record keeping side. One thing that I've learned with the Germans, if you don't have documentations with them, it's a non-negotiable deal, so you won't negotiate. But with us, it was easier, because when we negotiate with them, when they say documents, it was easier to put in the documents. Issue of communicating with the buyer themselves. Now, you need to understand, because we were coached before we go there. It was easy for us to say we know what our buyers need in terms of communications. There are ways of communicating with buyers. So depending on where you will be going, understand your buyers, how they would need you to communicate with them. So it's important that I've learned that matter. In other cases, you'll find that there are issues that deals with quantities of the produce that you have. If you think you want to export, we need so many quantities to export. You don't need smaller quantities, more especially on the fruits and veg. You will need so many produce. So there is a need for collaboration and building that relationship again with other farmers, again lining them with the requirements of the market. So by my mentoring or my mentorship guide, it was easy for me, because the market research was done properly and everyone wanted to make business with us. So they said, okay, send us your produce so that we can test this on our side first. I sent them. I receive an email which I've sent with the DTIC, when they say they are excited with our MRL, residual contact. That means now they understand that our product is really what we said it is. So I will say to everyone, it's possible to do export, but the important part, documentations, becomes key. Know who you work with, and when you haven't export, it's important again to say, I have never exported, so that you can get assisted. On our side, they aligned us with DLH so that they can take our produce. Ours was to take the product up until to the harbor, then they take the product going further for exporting. So that was key, because we indicated that we haven't done this. But if you ask me today, I'm exporting on myself now, because already the relationship with DLH grew in such a way that they even taught us how to do things ourselves. Now we are exporting to Europe on when it comes to avocados. The last part that I want to check with you, with the product that we have been selling with the Europeans, it assisted us to grow again. Now it's no longer about your macadamia nuts, your avocados and honey only. Now we have the finished product of avocado and macadamia nuts. So we are having macadamia nuts and avocado oil that we are selling to them. Honey, we are looking on the other market on the Japanese side, which is coming through. So when you have started, everything becomes easier. So I think with this, someone will know anyone from the deep rural areas get compliance. You know, it's all possible. From my side, I'm working now with other 53 farmers that I've lined up so that we can support and have more products that we can sell. The important part, record keeping becomes key to every farm. So I think in a nutshell, we are selling, and the produce, the farmers are making money, we are making money, and yeah, I think we are ready. Thank you very much for this opportunity for sharing with you, and we're looking forward again to engage with others that are here, those that need to engage with us further, more especially on the compliance part, because we are already there. We can assist you going forward. I think in a nutshell, let me leave it here. And if there are any other questions, they will arise, then we'll respond. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mtikita, to share such a wonderful story. Quite exciting, and I'm glad when you mentioned that you started your business in 2012, but to penetrate the export market, it only came after you have joined hands with the DTIC through the GIZ program. And I'm glad that you mentioned that you are also looking at exporting to the other regions or the other countries in the world, not only the Germans through the GIZ. Ladies and gentlemen, just to share with you that it is really possible for anyone, not only on the agricultural sector, all sectors. As the DTIC under the export development, we are really running this Global Export Passport program, which then now led to us partnering with the GIZ in Germany. The MOU has just been recently signed sometime last year. And as I'm talking to you, Mr. Solomon Engelbrecht, who did the introductory remark on behalf of the EDC, he is talking now from the Germany with the other group who have applied through the DTIC when the call was open to the public to say, we want people that can be mentored, we want people that can be trained and learn some skill with the GIZ in Germany. As I'm talking to you, they are busy in classes, they are busy doing site visit and really exploring some other technical experts into from Germany. So I would really want to encourage each and everyone who is here to really partner or to really work closely with the DTIC through all the programs that we have within the DTIC. Throughout the day, we will have different speakers from various programs within the DTIC. But what I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, is that all the speakers, when they take the podium, they will share the very same sentiment that compliance and proper documentation, whether you are applying for a domestic program, which is the Global Export Passport Program, you need to comply. You need to really have proper documentation, like Mr. Mtikita has really alluded to say he complied and really sent his product. He also able to partner with the distribution and the freight forwarders that really took this product out of the country. So by so saying, Mr. Mtikita, I really want to really thank you so much. I would really appreciate if you can share your email address on this platform. I see a lot of people now, they posing questions on the chat box to say, Mr. Manenje, can we really have Dr. Mtikita's email address? If you are really comfortable, Mr. Mtikita, to really and hold some of the people that are saying, Mr. Mtikita, we really want to talk to you. How do we reach you? If you are so kind to really share your email address on the chat box, I will really appreciate it. I'm also going to share an email address wherein all the export related questions, I see some of the people that are starting to ask now, Mr. Manager, how do we apply to participate at the DTIC program? So I will share with you the email address where you can pop in any export related inquiry or questions so that we can really address those questions now, and some of the colleagues will also assist in addressing those questions. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Mtikita. Without really wasting time, if you can allow me, Lebohang, to really call on the stage or on the podium, Miss Portia Dube, if she's ready to really come on the floor. Before that, let me explain to you, Miss Portia Dube is the head of business development for the Export Credit Insurance, that in abbreviation we call it ECIC, and she is a graduate of the University of Bath with a master's in computer science and honors in accounting from Bournemouth University. She's a seasoned professional that has provided financial solution to African continent through ABSA Capital with the Barclays Group, wherein she worked in across retail, service delivery, treasury, credit, corporate, and investment banking function. By so saying, I would really like to welcome Ms. Portia Dube from ECIC to really take the podium and share with us the offering from the ECIC. You're welcome, Portia. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I just want to see where we are here. So I apologize. I initially had the ECIC backdrop behind me, but it seems to have disappeared now. But I will be sharing a presentation, and I'm just going to share my screen, and you will have our contact details as well with the presentation, which I will share with Rendani, and he will circulate to all the participants. Just going to share my screen. Okay, so while we wait for the presentation to come online, just going to give you a little bit of information about. Please stop me if anything is not coming up and if it's not clear. But a little bit of an introduction about who we are as the ECIC, Export Credit Insurance Corporation of South Africa. We are South Africa's export credit agency. So for those of you who are not familiar with export credit agencies, in a lot of countries where there's manufacturing and capability, a lot of governments set up agencies to facilitate exports. These agencies are known as export credit agencies, ECAs. And what these ECAs do is they're there to support their domestic manufacturers go out and export more. As you know, for our economy to grow, we need to export more than we import. And these export credit agencies vary in nature. So they're categorized into three. For the most part, some provide guarantees. So examples of an entity that provides guarantees would be someone like China Exim Bank. They provide guarantees and they're supporting exports from China. Others provide insurance. ECIC is an example of such. The Chinese also have Sinosure, which supports Chinese exports, but through insurance. Others provide guarantees and direct lending. An example of that would be the UK, the United Kingdom Export Finance, UKEF in short, and they provide guarantees as well as facilitate lending on behalf of the government. As the ECIC, we are established by an act of parliament as an insurer, so we fall in the category that provides insurance. But we work similar to all ECAs, and the principles that I will share with you today, you can apply to any other export credit agency depending on the nature of your business. I also like what was said earlier. What we do and what we support is across multiple sectors. As the ECIC, we provide cover for rand, dollar, and euro denominated transactions. And the key thing is we are 100% state-owned. The DTIC is our shareholder. So when a financial institution takes on our cover, they're simply substituting the risk of the country where you're exporting into or the project, depending on the nature of the transaction, with that of South African government. I will share these slides, and because of time, I won't go in great detail about everything that we've put here, but because it's a masterclass, I did put more detail than we would normally put on the slides. So this will be good bedtime reading for you to go through post the presentation. So ECIC is there to facilitate trade, and we do that by providing political and commercial risk insurance. When we work on transactions, we don't provide that cover for free. We charge a premium to cover the country risk and the project risk. And we also want to work with parties that are following the rules and regulations, not just of South Africa, but also where you go and you trade. So it's very important to us that when we cover a transaction, that all processes are above board and that the correct procedures have been followed in obtaining that opportunity, and as well as the type of projects that we support. We don't want to enter into a transaction where the buyer is not or the transaction is not bankable, and or it presents undue burden on that country or the company that we are covering. So we've categorized the products, like I said earlier. Whatever we're providing cover for, it can be applied across multiple sectors. And the way we categorize our product offering is there's some instruments that are there directly for the exporter. So that's what we're calling exporter's insurance, and others involve a financier. So that's the export finance insurance. And we also have investment cover. I'm going to start off by explaining the key to our involvement. As the ECIC, our mandate and our directive from our shareholder is to support South African exports. So what we try and avoid and what we want to see some beneficiation in South Africa and also in the country that one is exporting to. And one of the key things that we want to avoid is where one has simply, imported goods and is distributing them, but there is no value add in South Africa. So starting point of our involvement is South African content. When you are exporting to a country on the continent, so exports into the rest of Africa, our minimum South African content is 50%. And we want to see at least 20% host, which is the home country you're exporting into, and or any other African country. So if you have 70% South African content, you still meet the criteria. If you can only export and your content is 50%, we want you to try and source at least another 20% in the country that you're exporting to, and or the rest of the continent. How do we define this content? We will exclude whatever has been imported. So if your business is manufacturing, we accept that you may have to import certain components. If I give an example of, let's say a vehicle, perhaps one has imported the engine, but the fabrication of the vehicle, the putting together the doors, the seats could be manufactured locally, and assembling the vehicle, that would be the value add in terms of the materials that we would count as South African content. We will also look at the wages and salaries to put together and assemble the machinery, the cost of transporting the machinery into the place where one is selling to. The premium that we charge is also deemed as content. We can also look at, if you're working with a financial institution, the financing charges, as well as the profit margin, that also adds towards the content. If your business is services, perhaps you do engineering and design, that is also deemed as South African content, as well as, you know, whatever salaries of the team that would be involved in the design process. I mentioned cover at the beginning. What does this cover mean? Well, we provide political and commercial risk insurance. What we are assisting our South African exporters with is the concerns they may have that would prevent them from being paid once they have put their goods together, manufactured. You've received an order. It could be someone places an order for, we were just hearing about avocados, and you know, one is selling the avocados. There's a big shipment that one needs to export. What could happen that prevents payment? There could be certain risks of a political nature. There are certain political risk events that may prevent our South African exporters from receiving their payment. So it could be that one has, if you look on our products earlier, we talked about pre-shipment cover. If you're manufacturing or if you're sourcing, let's say you've got a big order, you source from other farmers, you've paid them, and then you're ready to ship, and then war breaks out, you'll have made a loss. So that's pre-shipment cover. If you've taken our cover in that regard, we will make you whole for whatever you would have spent to put together to fulfill that order, right? It could be whatever with your sales, that if it's a type of a transaction where you sent equipment perhaps into that jurisdiction, and then the government takes the assets, so expropriation. You would have made a loss, you would come to ECIC to make you whole. You have orders into Mozambique or into Zimbabwe, and then you need your payment, and your buyer informs you that I have money, but it's in local currency, and when I go to my bank to try and process the payment, we are not receiving approvals from the central bank or the Reserve Bank to process dollars to pay you back. So that's currency restriction, unavailability or inconvertibility. So if you have cover with the ECIC, what we would do is we would say, okay, put us in touch with your buyer. We will take the local currency that they have. If it's Metcash, we will take the Metcash. We will give you your rand, your dollar, whatever or euro, if the facility or the transaction had been denominated in euro or in dollars. It could be that there's a discriminatory change in law that is now targeting your operations. If your borrower was a state-owned entity, that's non-honoring of the obligations to pay by the sovereign. If there's a breach of contract, or let's say you are exporting goods and they have to be shipped via sea, and there's some kind of terrorist attack or piracy, then these would be the political risk events that you could claim your repayment for. We also provide cover for commercial risk events. Now, by commercial risk events, we're talking about insolvency. You've sent your goods, you did your due diligence on the entity, something unforeseen happens, and all of a sudden they've gone bust. So they become insolvent. They cannot repay you, but they've received your goods. Or they are experiencing some issues, and where they were supposed to have paid you within 30 days, it's now 180 days. It's protracted default. The company is still operational, but there are delays in your payments. So that's the commercial risk aspect that we would be covering there as well. So I have a slide earlier where I categorize the different kind of support that we provide. So for instance, if you are, there's some type of exports where when you are selling, and by the way, we only come in where you are extending credit terms. So if you are simply exporting and someone is paying you cash up front, we don't have a product for that as yet. This is our offering is to try and help our South African companies be a little bit more competitive. So when we travel on the continent, I've been to places like Ghana where they say, but I love the products coming from South Africa. Is great quality, etc. But I find myself going to China because the Chinese are giving me credit terms. They're giving me 30 days, 2 years, etc. to repay. And with us, I think we are very comfortable trading domestically. And then when it comes to the unknown, we will then have a concern that, I will not receive my payment. Therefore, let me ask for 90% deposit. And then they compare us with the Chinese who are giving them a year to repay, etc. So these instruments help you to take a little bit of comfort, to extend credit, to put your best foot forward, to win the business where you are asked for credit terms. Now, trade credit is a new offering that trade credit insurance is a new offering that we are providing. Those who are familiar with ECIC would know that in the past, we always asked for a minimum credit term of 2 years, but our shareholder expanded our mandate, so now we are also providing cover for trade. Now, when one exports, they may give the buyer 30-day, 60, 90, 180-day repayment terms. That's the trade credit. In this scenario, you may have one buyer or you may have multiple buyers. So if you have multiple, we will assess, let's say, the 5 buyers, and we will put a credit limit and say to you, you can trade up to 5 million with these 5 names that you're exporting to. It could be that you just have the one client that you're exporting to. We will look at their financials and determine the level of credit we are willing to extend, and you would have cover up to the amount that we are willing to cover. If you say, but I've been dealing with this entity for 20 years, I want to go above that limit, then you would do so, but it would be on your risk. We would have indicated the level that we are willing to cover. Okay, so this is trade credit. Cover is provided directly to the South African exporter, and we are looking at the buyer's risk. The other similar but not quite the same is supplier's credit. Supplier's credit, the South African exporter comes to us, they enter into a supply agreement with their buyer, they give them maybe 18 months or 2 years to repay. It's a term loan, it's a term facility. So in your supply contract, you would have come to the ECIC beforehand, and you would have indicated that I have a client and I'm selling goods to them. They want 2 years to repay. I'm willing to extend that tenor for them. What is the premium that you would charge? We would ask for the buyer's financials, their profile, their track record, and we would say, okay, are we happy with this country that you are exporting to? Are we open for cover? Yes, we are. Because part of that assessment is where you are selling your goods to. I'll give you an example. We are open to do business in the DRC, but if you come to us and say, I have a buyer there in the Eastern DRC, we may say no, because we know that there's conflict currently taking place in the Eastern DRC. And the reason for that is you would need to make sure that you can get your goods there. If we need to go and assess the business and do our due diligence, we also need to be able to travel to that jurisdiction. And if your goods, so it's not, we are not able to come in and cover an existing event. We cover before the event takes place. So on suppliers credits, we're assessing the buyer as well as the South African exporter. We also want to make sure that you can deliver, you have a track record in delivering the product that you've been requested to supply. And then you would take the premium, you would include that in your supply contract, you would include that in the cost, not just of the goods that you're offering your buyer, you would also put your charges, which would be the premium. Okay. Another product, just get this to move, bond insurance. As you export, sometimes you are required, there are times where maybe in Zambia, there may be a client that you may have found, it may be the sovereign, and maybe they are working with an entity of the United Nations, for instance. And then they say that we are inviting bids, we're inviting tenders, requests for proposals to supply grain or to supply equipment, or whatever the case may be. We want you to put a bid. Now, when you put in the bid, sometimes you may be required to put a bid bond, a bid guarantee. They want to make sure that they eliminate the players that are not serious and also that don't have the financial muscle when awarded to supply into the contract. When you go to your bank and ask the bank to issue this bid guarantee on your behalf, the bank will ask you for cash for the equivalent of the value of the bid guarantee. Now, as we all know, as a business, cash is the lifeblood of business. And as I go back to our mandate, which is to facilitate exports, if you are faced with an opportunity to utilize your cash for your domestic opportunities, as opposed to putting them out for these bids, or maybe the nature of your transaction is that your buyer gives you a big deposit, they will say, I want an advance payment guarantee against the deposit that I've given you. Again, same principle with the bank. You need to cover that guarantee with cash collateral. As the ECIC, we would speak to your bank and we would cover the bank for up to 90%, which reduces the cash collateral that you need to provide the bank. So our cover up to 90% is in lieu of 90% cash collateral for the guarantee that is being issued. So that now leaves you with more cash to either put in multiple bonds for more transactions cross-border, and also to utilize for your business. So this is a an amazing product that we have for trade and to support our South African exporters. Similar to the guarantees, whenever you have an order, you need working capital. So if your business is multiple products that you export, we can put together a working capital facility together with your bank, and we would cover the bank again up to 90% for the working capital. The benefit of working capital, but again, it must be linked to export contracts. So you're utilizing that working capital facility for your exports. And the benefit is that, okay, I go back to my banking days. When the bank, when you go to the bank and you show them your business, you introduce yourself, they've got your profile, they look at your balance sheet, they look at your assets, they categorize you, and they assign a kind of a credit rating based on the strength of your balance sheet, the nature of your business, your debtors book, your track record in trading and operating, right? And what they then do is they assign a default grade to your business. Similar to how it's done for us personally, you know, they look at our payslip, our expenses, how we manage our check-in accounts, and we get a credit score. So they do the same for your business. And when they lend to you, there are various components to how a bank prices a loan. The first is the cost at which the bank raises funding. So it's the cost of its finance. That's what's included in how they price the loan. The cost of finance, if applicable, there may be some statutory costs that are payable to the Reserve Bank. Then the other aspect is the credit risk margin. The credit risk margin is based on how they view your business, how you operate, how you trade, the nature of your business, and they put a credit score. So if you are AAA rated, your credit margin is lower, which means your overall, you know, cost of funding, the loan price is more attractive. If you've had experiences in the past, you've had a bad trading record, your credit risk margin is higher. So obviously the cost of the loan increases. So one of the benefits when we're providing this cover for your working capital is that the bank substitutes 90% of the value of the cost of your working capital facility with that of South African government. So your pricing can come down. There are transactions where we've supported a client, and when their bank priced the working capital facility with our cover, their pricing came down 5 notches. So if you are into exports and there's value in speaking to us and your bank, and also we're happy to have a conversation with your bankers and to also link them up with the teams that assist on export credit backed finance to help in that regard. So yes, then there's lease and return of equipment. There are times where we've covered certain transactions where leasing transactions, maybe you're just going in to operate for mining services and you're going in with your equipment, or it could be that in the rail sector, for instance, a client is leasing wagons, so we can cover operational leases and finance leases as well. So for export finance, I'm not going to go into too much detail for this since we're focusing on trade, but you will have our contact details if there's something I haven't covered, and you have a scenario similar to this. This is what we call the buyer's credit, and this is really for your long-term type of lending. where one buys equipment. Let's say you are selling vehicles or yellow equipment, because South Africa is big on mining, and you're selling yellow equipment to a mine. And then the mine says, I want 3 years to repay. You would enter into a supply agreement or a sales agreement, rather, with the buyer, and you would have terms in that agreement. So the first thing is you would say, for every buyer that we deal with, there must be a deposit. For us as the ECIC, we expect your buyer to always provide a minimum of 15%, which we call down payment. So we exclude the deposit, and then we look at the rest of the loan that remains to be serviced. And in that supply agreement, you would say, when I deliver maybe 5 pieces of equipment, I want another 30%, and then 40% or whatever, until 100% of the load of the equipment is delivered and you've received your money. The bank would enter into a facility agreement with your buyer that mirrors the terms of that supply agreement. So when you now receive your next 30% payment, the buyer in, let's say, the DRC would draw down on the loan from a South African bank, and you as the exporter are paid your next 30% until you've delivered the contract in full and you've received your money in full. You're out of the transaction. We want you to look for another exporter, another buyer in another jurisdiction. And then we as the ECIC remain in that transaction with the South African bank that has lent money for the exports, right? And the bank will be repaid by the buyer in the DRC. Let's say 12 months down the line, the mine goes bust. The bank would come to ECIC. We pay out the bank. We make them whole. We remain in the transaction with the mine until perhaps they can resuscitate their business or whatever the case may be and receive payment. So you can see that the buyer's credit is similar to supplier's credit, but the difference with supplier's credit is that you are exporting and almost providing finance as well, which is not ideal because you become an exporter plus a lender. But with the buyer's credit, and by the way, when you're on the supplier's credit, that risk sits on your balance sheet. It's a contingent liability. It sits on your business. So you want rather to work with a bank to lend your buyer. And when you are bidding for these opportunities, you can say, I can come in not only with goods from South Africa, but I can bring financing from a South African bank covered by the ECIC. It makes your offering attractive when you're hunting for business and you're going cross-border. You've heard from the DTIC, there are these opportunities and trade missions that they go into, and we sometimes join those as well, but there are opportunities for you to go and there are opportunities for you to go in and search for business, and with the support of the South African government backing you. There was also there's a question, but I guess there's an opportunity for us to respond after. So let me just quickly wrap up. We also provide investment cover. And investment cover is, let's say you have an opportunity to go in and establish a business cross-border, maybe into Namibia. Maybe someone offers you an opportunity to buy into their existing business. So that's an acquisition. You take your funds from South Africa, you buy a 20% stake. We provide investment cover. So the products under investment cover would be acquisition, and it could be a shareholder loan. It could be that you already have an existing stake with a partner in another jurisdiction. So that's a shareholder loan. Maybe there's more equity that you need to provide, or as a partner, you're extending that loan. So we provide 90% cover, And for our investments, we are not providing commercial risk insurance. We are simply providing political risk insurance. So if it's a bad investment, that's on you. But if there's acts by the sovereign in that jurisdiction that may prevent you from getting your dividends of a political nature, etc., then that's the cover that we're providing under investments. Okay. So I will leave this for you to go through, but I'm just highlighting on this the various documents that we would be looking at. It's usually the same things that the financial institution would want to see, and it's for the most part, we want to determine the ability of the buyer to pay. Our assessment and our due diligence may be stringent. In some instances, we do provide, we may have, I don't want to, yeah, we may be a little bit more flexible sometimes, because I'll give an example. In the past, before we had a mandate to support the trade in the short term, we were already offering cover for working capital and for guarantees. We did that to support the boat building sector. In line with the National Development Plan, we saw that there was that sector was struggling, and we provided that support to the banks. We also have, and you'll see on some of the criteria that I'm going to share, for short, what we call our small medium transactions. That's anything up to $20 million, and there's different criteria for the smaller transactions. But we're providing this cover and this support to try and encourage the South African banks to support the smaller deals, because as you can appreciate, when our banks are assessing transactions, and even for the ECIC, of course, the amount of resources that you need to support or to assess a $100 million transaction, you go through the same process for a $1 million transaction. So it's more effort goes onto the bigger projects, and but we provide 100% political and commercial risk cover for the smaller transactions to motivate the banks to come in and to participate on the smaller type of transactions. Not sure what happened to my slide there, but this is just highlighting our approval process and the various stages. So, okay. The various stages that we go through when you present a transaction to us. And then I've also included a few case studies for your information. These are examples on the trade. If there's interest, I will go through the chats, and if there's interest to see case studies for the bigger projects, for project finance, for mining transactions cross-border. We've done various projects across the rail, and your bigger project finance type of structures as well. And if you would like me to include those, I'm happy to do so. But for purposes of this presentation, I've just highlighted a few recent transactions that we've done. These are guarantees and working capital structures. This is also an example of a supplier's credit transaction. And then, like all export credit agencies, with our insurance product, there are waiting periods that apply. So the only exception is where there's a guarantee, where we're working with the bank, because a guarantee is an on-demand instrument. So the bank, if the guarantee, if it's called and it's valid, the bank has to pay. and then we will make the bank whole within days of receiving the claim. But for your other type of transactions, there are a waiting period where we will go in and assess, and during this period we also want to make sure that, for instance, you may have presented to us that there was 90% SA content. We have to determine that there was indeed content and that you did export to this buyer, etc. So we go through a process where we also start assessing before we validate the claim and we make the payment. And then this slide is just highlighting our claims history, recent claims that we've paid, and these are the contact details from the team. In my team, I've got different people looking after different regions. So, for instance, and the reason we also set up like this is perhaps you may approach us and you're saying you're going out to bid for a transaction, or like I said, with the trade missions, sometimes we as ECIC can come through with you, and if you're presenting and you need us to show a strong front, we can also go in and we can provide instruments like expressions of interest when you're bidding for transactions, to assist you to win the business as you go cross-border. So I'm out of breath now, so I will pause there. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Dube. If you were in a classroom, I'm telling you there was going to be a lot of sound of clapping hands for quite a significant and phenomenal presentation, clearing everything. As you were presenting, I was jotting some question, but as you're proceeding along, you're answering all the questions that I have. And that says to me, even some exporters or emerging exporters, potential exporters in here, the perspective about exporting is going to be changed completely. Because the question some of them had was, yes, I can go out and make some deal and come back. Where am I going to get funds? What are the processes? What is it that need to be done? But your dynamic and detailed presentation really outlined everything about what you guys offer. And I believe after these presentations, from now on going forward, all members that are in here, they will really like to have contact with you, because I see a lot of people on the chat box. I've been reading a lot of messages that are coming in, and people are indicating, how do we get hold of you? How do we contact you? I've got this contract with this country. What can I do? And all those things. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I've provided the exports at the dtic.gov.za email. For all export-related inquiries, please, let's send the email there, so that after the webinar, I'm going to be able to sit down and really address your question one by one, so that we don't left anyone behind. And once more, Ms. Portia Dube, thank you so much for your detailed presentation. I really appreciate this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the screen, Portia, she has shared not only her contact details, but the number of business cards that she projected in there. I don't know, Portia, are you able to really share the presentation with everyone, so that people can have this presentation on their disposal? Is it possible to do that?
Yes, I'll PDF it and send it to you, and then we can circulate.
Please.
Okay.
If you can send this presentation, so that people can quickly go back and revise according to the slides as and when question do comes. Yes, we're gonna have a Q&A session just after Mr. Donovan's presentation, so that maybe we do not have more speakers and not unpack some of the questions. Lebo, if you can allow me to let you welcome and introduce Mr. Donovan Mitchell from the ITAC. Over to you, Lebo. Lebo, you are muted. You are muted, my sister.
Good.
There we go. Thank you. You are muted again. Leo, you are muted.
All right. I just
Yes.
wanted to echo your comments of gratitude for the speakers that have come before. Ms. Portia, the presentation was absolutely food for thought, as well as the exporter who was a beneficiary of the DTIC export programs. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Donovan Mitchell. He is the manager of the Import and Export Control within the International Trade Administration Commission, which is otherwise known as ITAC. He's a BCom economics graduate of the University of the Free State and has over 16 years experience in this institution that is tasked with creating a favorable environment for fair trade through efficient and effective administration of its trade instruments, which are also offered through the DTIC. You will, among other things, understand more on the importance of remaining compliant as you move your goods and services across our borders. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for that introduction, the warm introduction. And good afternoon to everybody that's part in this session. Please allow me just to share my presentation with you. I hope my presentation is visible.
Yes, it is, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Was it still good morning? Thank you very much for the opportunity to present also to you and share with you the service that we provide as ITAC. So the ITAC Import-Export Control is part of the International Trade Administration Commission, which is the authority that is responsible for the enforcement and administration of the import and export control measures of goods coming in the country, goods going out of the country, as per the ITA Act. So ITAC came into being with the ITA Act being promulgated in 2002. So it is the Act 71 of 2002. And in Section 6 of our Act, it gives the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition certain powers to administer controlled movement of goods coming into the country and going out of the country through a permit system. And that is administered by ITAC Import and Export Control. So why would we want to control goods for trade coming in and going out of the country when we say we want to enable and facilitate trade? There is specific reasons why we do that. Amongst others, you will see on the screen, it says for health reasons, environmental, safety and security, for technical standards to adhere to it. That arises due to compliance with domestic laws. And also South Africa is a signatory to a number of international agreements that we also had to adhere to. Amongst others, that is the Montreal Protocol, where you have to deal with substances that deplete the ozone layer. Basically, if you can think of in any business office where you sit, maybe there is an air conditioner. That cold air that you experience comes from gas, refrigerant gas. If you drive in your car in a hot summer, you've got gas coming through your air conditioner. If you walk in any big major mall or shopping center or even supermarket, you'll go to frozen department where your food, where the drinks and everything, perishable goods, is refrigerated, and that is made possible through gases. So those gases may have a depleting effect on the ozone layer, and that is controlled by the Department of Environmental Affairs, and ITAC assists them to control the movement of those goods, that it is compliant and the correct gases are imported and exported. Similarly, also there's the Basel Convention that controls the cross-border movement of hazardous waste and how this is disposed of. Again, the controlling authority locally is the Department of Environmental Affairs. So whoever wants to import or export goods that are subject to the Basel Convention, hazardous waste, you first need to inquire from Environmental Affairs whether in fact you are allowed to do so. The process, how that works, say for instance, somebody wants to trade in lead scrap batteries, be it from a vehicle, from a truck, from a car, whatever. Those batteries contain lead, hazardous lead. And lead can be threatening and dangerous to the environment, to the person, to animal life, and so forth. So it needs to be handled in a specific manner, and it needs to be disposed of responsibly. And if any company wants to either import or export that out of the country or into the country, the two countries, the recipient country and the country that sends it, there's maybe two companies that want to trade, but the company that wants to send it must go to their controlling authority and apply for consent. It's called prior consent before export. And that country and Environmental Affairs will liaise with their counterparts in the recipient country and say, we've got company X, they've got a consignment of lead scrap batteries, this quantity and so forth. They want to export it to your company in your country. What do you say? If that country gives consent, only then is the company then allowed to apply for an export permit through ITAC, and then they can export it. On the import side, it's exactly the mirror, same principle apply. Then if you look at on the screen, it says the 1988 United Nations Convention. This is administered by the South African Police Services. This has got to do with the illicit traffic of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Here we can even look at its chemicals, industrial chemicals, pharmaceutical chemicals. It may even be chemicals that we use in our household setup. So typically like hydrochloric acid that you can use to clean your swimming pool, acetone that they use to do maybe cleaning, chemical cleaning, but you also get chemicals like ephedrine and pseudoephedrine that you normally find in pharmaceutical products. Therefore, when you drink medicine or you take tablets, there's a warning that says, be careful, you will feel drowsy. Please do not
Ladies and gentlemen, seems like we have lost Mr. Donovan with some technical glitches, I believe. Mr. Donovan, are you able to make a comeback? Mr. Donovan? Lebo, can you hear him, or it's only me who lost?
Actually, I think his internet has frozen. Maybe he will just refresh.
Yes.
Line, yes.
Let's allow him to refresh and really come back.
I think maybe, Rendani, just to invite everybody to continue to post some of the questions. We are responding to questions as you are going, but there would be probably questions you would like to pose to the speakers. You can jot some in the chat and we will note them. And at the time that we have our Q&A, which will be in a few minutes' time, we will certainly come to you with some responses.
Yes. And I'm still want to encourage participants to drop emails into that particular email so that you can get proper clarification and answers with regard to your question and inquiries. Are we still missing Mr. Donovan? Mr. Mitchell? Yeah, that's that technology for you. When we are online, sad things are bound to happen, but please let's be let's be patient to one another. Hopefully we will get him to connect.
I've been noticing quite a number of inquiries, Rendani.
Yes.
Are very interested in becoming a member, a mentor, or participating in that mentorship program as an exporter. I'm seeing I would like to be a part of mentorship program for import and exporting. Thanks. Oh, here is
Mr. Donovan.
Yes, I'm back, and you apologies. I don't know what happened there, but I'm back.
It's technology. Don't worry. Let's continue.
Okay, thank
All
you
right,
very much.
you.
I was speaking about the Basel Convention. The 1988 United Nations Convention. So that one speaks to chemicals, like I say. Now, why this is controlled is that, unfortunately, as much as those chemicals are doing good, industrial chemicals, pharmaceutical chemicals, household chemicals, it is also the same chemicals that can be used in the manufacture of illicit drugs, where you get all the drugs that is destroying our societies. So therefore, the SAPS, through the office of the DTIC, they control that. And any company that wants to deal and trade and import and export those chemicals, they need to first stop at the DTIC, the narcotics desk. They will do their clearance. And once they approve, then the importer or the exporter comes to ITAC, and we will issue a permit. So we deal, ITAC, we have established quite a number of partnerships with other government departments and other agencies. The reason being is that ITAC has got an online live permit system directly linked with SARS Customs. So when we issue our permits, that permit is generated live on the customs system. So we just give you a notification to say your permit has been approved, your permit has been issued. This is the details of the permit. This is what you can import, export. This is the goods, quantity, rand value. This is the permit number. So when you make your customs clearance, the system will ask the commodity, the product that you want to import or export. It flags on the customs system and says, where is your ITAC import permit? Where is your ITAC export permit? Then you insert your permit number, and the customs system will immediately validate that that permit is authentic because it's already on the customs database. And I spoke now about the product is flagged. Every commodity, every product under the sun that is traded has got a numerical identification number unique to that product that classify that product. For instance, you will have vehicles is classified under chapter 87. So you will have vehicles classified as 8703, 8704, 8705, and so forth, depending on the description of the type of vehicle. Is it a diesel vehicle? Is it a petrol vehicle? The size of the engine? Does it carry passengers? Does it carry goods? And so that 8704 will get more digits, up to 8 digits. So when you make a declaration, when you go into import and exports and the goods that you want to trade with, it's important to do that tariff classifications beforehand, either with customs or with your clearing and forwarding agent. Then that tariff number will inform you whether you need an ITAC permit, whether you need a permit maybe from the Department of Health, Department of Agriculture. It's important to do that because that permits must be obtained prior to shipment of the goods. So you cannot put your stuff in a container, ship it to the port in Durban. You're ready to put it on the ship, but you haven't got your permits. Then you are not compliant with the regulations of the ITAC. You cannot import goods and the goods arrive in Durban for clearance and you're all happy and you started counting the money, but you haven't got your permits in place. That's it. And if you do that, you are actually in contravention of the regulations and the provisions of the Act. So, and customs can penalize you. You can then to wait for your permit to be issued. You start paying storage fees with customs, which is called a marriage. At the end of the day, it can become a costly business for you due to non-compliance and because you do not have the proper paperwork in hand. And that can maybe even be a big impact on your business. So it is very important to whatever goods you're going to trade in. The advice that I would say is a rule of thumb: classify your goods, then refer to ITAC. You can call us at the end of the presentation. I'll give contact details. We've got import control regulations. We've got export control regulations that list the goods that require an ITAC import permit, that requires an ITAC export permit. If it is listed there, it is available on our website. I can share it also as part of the package afterwards. That becomes your go-to document on your desk for business. Once you see your commodity, your product in that any of the import or export control list, then you know you need to contact ITAC prior to concluding shipments, prior to ordering, that you have your paperwork in place and ensuring that you are compliant. And that is very helpful. So coming back to the screen, like I said, so many of these departments listed here, they don't have that facility of being having an online permit system with customs currently. So we've done a partnership with them. They're the controlling authority. They will determine whether you may or may not import or export the specific commodity that they control. Like Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, well, it has changed now. It is Mineral Resources and Petrol or Petroleum. If you want to trade in petrol, diesel, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, or aviation gas or aviation fuel for aircraft, you have an opportunity. You need to speak to them. Then they will do all the checks and balances, whether you qualify. When they approve, then they will send your application to ITAC, who will then also issue you with the ITAC permit if you are compliant and approved. Similarly, like Department of Health, we help them to issue permits for human blood. Sometimes on the continent, there's an emergency operation and there's a depleted resources of a specific type of blood group, then they would maybe contact the South African Blood Transfusion Association or whatever you call them, and they would ship that blood as an emergency, but we need to control that also. And for them to get it through customs for clearance, they would give us the recommendation, the approval, and we will issue the permit on their behalf. I've already explained that we work very closely with SARS Customs, and we basically sister entities, and whatever goods that must come into the country, that goes out of the country, customs is the port of entry and the port of exit, and they determine whether goods can come in or go out, but they will also say, are you compliant? Where is your permits that you require from the different government departments, that is the controlling authorities, and that's very important. Then, as a rule for all importers, it is important to note that, like I said, we've got the import control regulation that lists the goods that is subject to control. We do not control everything, but it specifies what goods are subject to control for specific reasons. But as a rule, anything that you import as used or second-hand may only be imported into South Africa with a valid ITAC import permit. So for instance, if you want to import, you start out a business and you go into manufacturing, but in order for you to acquire a brand new machine, it is too expensive. So for you just to start off, you say, okay, I've managed to source a very good refurbished second-hand piece of equipment that can help me. Very good. But then you need a permit, an import permit for it. And before you can put it in a container and ship it and it arrives in the port of entry, you must have your import permit from ITAC. So please, as a rule, always anything used or second-hand that you import will always require import permit. Now, it doesn't mean that everything used in second-hand will be allowed in the country. That is why we have the control measure. And the reason for that is simply because we want to protect local industries. We cannot allow cheap imports that will also destroy the local economy. I've explained this, the green economy, we control waste in terms of Basel, petroleum in terms of Department of Energy, the chemicals that we control. The ITA Act is a criminal act, so if you contravene, then we can prosecute. We also control export of vehicles, import of vehicles, scrap metal. We play a key role in that also for goods being exported and imported as scrap metal and all other waste. We have an enforcement unit that does investigations, that check compliance, and if not, then we can prosecute. We do not want to do that, therefore we advocate compliance. So thank you very much for your time and your attention. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mitchell, Mr. Donovan, for quite a detailed presentation. I just wish all the emerging exporters that normally give me a call with regard to Rendani, I want to import a vehicle. Rendani, I want to export a vehicle. You know, Mr. Donovan, I always on your neck with this kind of inquiries. But I am quite excited that today you gave clarity in terms of all the sectors. The health sectors, you also touched on it. You've also touched on the mineral resources. I know there are a lot of people who always contact the DTIC help desk saying, I've got an inquiry to send a chrome to China. What is that I need to do? But I'm glad you're able to outline that, and this gonna go a long way. It will really help a lot of emerging exporters in this house today, so that at the end of the day, they will go home with a lot of information. I really appreciate you, Mr. Donovan. Lebo, any comment?
I think we should invite questions now. If there are any individuals on the platform, if you would like to pose a question to any of our previous three presenters, can you kindly signal by raising your hand? And then also we'll just take some of the questions as we're reading them. Thanks.
If I may, yes, please.
Yes.
I'm just running on a low battery because I've been in and out. So from my side, I've said that I will make available the import control regulations, the export control regulations. That is the best way What can I import? What can I not export? And that we will make available. And that is always a go-to document as a start. And if there's anything that's in the that's not in the document that you want to export, please reach out to us. We may refer you and say, no, what you want to import, please contact our colleagues at Agriculture. Please contact our colleagues maybe at Department of Health. We are always available to do that also. So if perhaps I go offline, I will be available. And if there's any questions that's related to us, then Rendani, please share that with me. Then I will respond maybe on a later opportunity if I could. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I don't know, Lebo, can I ask you to note questions by sequence so that we don't take number 3 while there's number 1 who raised the hand? I see there's a hand from Neo Mulotwane. I think Neo, you are number 2, if I'm not mistaken. Lebo, am I right?
We've got Hester Gill, who is number 1. If you can kindly unmute, and let's hear from you. Thanks.
Lebo, before we take a question, can we agree that at least we take the first minimum 5 questions?
Perfect.
Then we jot them down. And to our speakers, please, let's listen attentively so that we're able to do this quick. I know we are running a little bit behind. The 20 minutes that we spend in the first, well, we have some technical glitches. It's really haunting us now. We're really chasing time. Can we take the 5 first questions and then we move off? We move on. Thank you. Lebo, can you take the note of the questions as well?
Yes, I'll do so.
Thank you.
So,
Yes.
good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You may continue.
Yes, and thank you for this opportunity. Yes, we've just come off a GEPP training course in East London with the DTIC. And I'm really grateful for this add-on training that we've got here. There are information in this course today that we haven't received. So thank you ever much for that. And also, I'm not able to chat on, type chat. Can somebody please unmute me on your side so I can type chat on this side? Then I don't have to speak to you guys.
Okay, so you don't want to pose your question directly to the speaker right now whilst you've got the floor?
I wanted to know, you mentioned export permits and export licenses and export numbers. I'm a little bit confused here. Export permits, are those different to export licenses?
Okay, thank you. Is there any other question you wanted to pose? Because I'm going to then go to the next person and then we'll take
Also, yeah, all right. And we deal in cosmetics. There's a little bit of a confusion as to what our correct HS code is. Our cosmetics are completely natural. No parabens, no steroids, no alcohol, no fragrance. And in some cases, vegan. So yes, the question about the HS code and the question about the export permits and licenses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hester. We've got Neo Moloto. Please, can you ask your question and introduce yourself so we know who you're speaking with? Thank you.
All right. Good day, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the training. My name is Neo Molotwane, and I am a coffin manufacturer. Prior to that, I was doing school desk, but in using solid wood. So my question is that I would like to expand my services outside the country. I am based in South Africa. I would like to know which department will be willing to help me with technical support and also the regulations for such if I'm working with wood. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Neo. We have Nompumelelo. Let me just see what your full name is. It's not appearing fully. Sidu. Nompumelelo Sidu, please, can you ask your question?
Hi, Lebogang and the rest of the guests. Thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to ask, is the department able to assist when the export offering is a service instead of products? So what I'm looking to do is offer a service overseas. Well, actually to West Africa. And how can the department help me? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. And next we have Melanie Barrington. Please, can you unmute?
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me now?
Perfectly, thank you.
Hi, my name is Melanie and I'm the owner of a company called the Vanilla Factory here. We're based in Port Elizabeth. We import and will hopefully be exporting our products. Where I would like to start off is in Africa. But when I look at the ITAC permit requirements, can that be done through your freight forwarding company that you've had to engage, or can it be done yourself online? And is it also a requirement for every consignment coming into the country? Now, I import cured vanilla beans, mostly from Madagascar and Uganda. That's where we buy in from. And I guess I just need to know, is a permit required for every consignment that we bring in and will be exporting? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to number 5. Kumo Mulosiwa.
Good afternoon, everybody. I own a logistics/transport business, and majority of my work is cross-border. I would just like to find out, is it possible that the department assists us with access to market? I'm not trading, but I offer a service. So anything that needs to be moved from South Africa to our neighboring countries, I do the cross-border logistics. And I find that I'm struggling to access market, unless a client contacts me direct to say, hi, I've got a consignment that needs to go to Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zambia. I don't have that direct contract, so I just wanted to find out, is the department able to help us with access to market?
Thank you very much. So we've got the first 5 questions. We're going to pause over here. The first one was from Hester Gill. She's asking about export permits, licenses and numbers, and just having a misunderstanding about the difference between all of them, as well as wondering about the SHS code that is required for natural vegan cosmetics. The second question is Neo Mletwani, who is manufacturing in the wood sector and is looking to expand beyond the country, and is wondering, are there any restrictions that she needs to be aware of, compliance issues? Nompumelelo Sidu is looking for your exporting as a service. She's in the service industry. What kind of support could she get moving into West Africa, which is very similar, I would imagine, to Kumo Losiwa's question, which is more around logistics, again, from the business side. It's around market access. And then finally, Melanie Barrington, who is looking for ITAC requirements to be clarified, as well as wondering whether she needs to be looking at complying per consignment, or is there another way which is more efficient for her to comply? So if we can just have the speakers take up any of the questions. Thank you.
I believe the question were directed to both the DTIC, ITAC, as well as ECIC. can I invite Portia maybe to be the first one to respond, and followed by Donovan, as he indicated that he might be off the hook not so long. Then we'll deal with the other questions.
Okay, thank you. I think most of them are really for Donovan. The question regarding the support that we provide for services, for us, you would enter into your contract to provide the service, and our cover would be in the event that you are not able to receive your payment. So the thing there would need to understand the service you're providing, what your payment terms are. So I'm sure there are certain milestones that you would need to deliver before you can get your payment, which means you work for a period. So that supply contract is what we would need to see that you would enter into, and the period that you agree for your payments, and details regarding the entity that you are providing services to. And so you would, like I said, we would quote you when we know the tenor, the value, and you would commence your work. And in the event that you're not paid, that's how we can come in and provide cover. Hope that helps.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Portia. Mr. Donovan, are you still here? Level? It looks like we're missing Mr. Donovan now.
Yes, I think he had a low battery the last
Okay.
time I saw. So what we can do is we will forward those questions
Yes.
to Mr. Donovan Mitchell, and then we will send the answers to everybody. As we're sending the presentations and sharing the content with everyone, we will make sure that these questions also receive responses, which we share with everyone. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe just to come in with regard to the market access, especially into the African continent, into the West Africa. We do have a trade branch, and on that trade branch, we have various units that deals with certain countries with regard to market access. And I just want to assure you that we do have people that assist in terms of finding you the relevant market. If you can drop your question to that email, exports@dtic.gov.za, I will be able to engage you together with the relevant officials that deal with that particular market. So we are able to find you a market and able to assist you to trade in that market. So I think there were two or more related questions that both of them deals with market. So please drop that particular inquiry into that particular email, then I'll be able to assist you. Okay. Can we agree level that we take maybe the last set of questions? And please, in your question, be specific. You're directing the question to ECIC, ITAC, the DTIC, so that we know exactly who to answer, because sometimes you find that we are juggling in between. When you say the department, we're not so sure whether you're talking about the DTIC or you're talking about the ECIC or ITAC. So let's take the last 5 questions on this Q&S. And remember, we're still going to have the last Q&S at the end of all the presenters.
Okay, lovely. So now I'm going to request, it is Mr. Tlolani Nzaba to unmute and share your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just have 2 questions. Number 1, I'm in the grain milling space. The name is Tlolani Nzaba. I'm in the grain milling space. I mill maize, sorghum, and going into flour soon. I would like to ask a question around, I would like to import machines from China. So I wouldn't want to use an agent. I would want to do it myself directly in terms of my business. And because sometimes the agents will end up ordering you the wrong machine. And then also as well, I would like to find out which office I should interact with direct exports to countries like DRC, Malawi, and so on. Thank you. I'll hear from you.
Thank you, Kolani. Now we have, I'm not seeing number 2, so I'm going to go straight to number 3. Nompumelelo, your hand is up again. Can I give somebody else an opportunity first before coming back to you so that we have some other voices in the room? Ronnie, please can you unmute your mic and ask a question? Thank you. You're still muted, Ronnie. Ronnie, you're still muted. Okay, while Ronnie sorts out the unmuting, we're going to go to the next person, Joy Msizi.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Good afternoon to everyone. My question, not question, actually, my concern I want to pose to DTIC that I'm a bit concerned when you are given an email to contact email for contact person for your questions, and then when you do that you don't get right answers or a solution. It's not the first time I attend meetings of this kind, and I even went to DTIC in the office in Cape Town. I am in the space of agriculture. I'm now interested into the international market trade, and I've been up and down for this. I was even contacted with someone face to face when I was in the meeting with the international I don't know that meeting, and then the person was from your ITC office that he is going to call a meeting for training for readiness for international trade. I followed up and followed up. I then gave up because no one would take you through. So my question or my concern is the email that was sent. I've got a lot of questions that I want to ask in terms of where to start and how. But then I'm holding on into this email that you sent here, you've published here. I just want to make sure that the email, if it's not, my question will not be related to the person, at least can say, refer me to a right person. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your question and your comment. And then let's go to Vusi, 0. Vusi. Okay, so it looks like Vusi is no longer asking a question. So now Nompumelelo.
Thank you. Thank you once again. So I'm a strategy consultant and looking to branch into, like I mentioned earlier, a country further up north. So my question, I guess it would be to DTIC and CIT. One, if you could please share the email address again that Rindani keeps referring to. So my question also would be with regards to exploration of the market. Part of the work I need to do there requires that I visit the country. And so just in addition to the first question, the assistance that I would get, does it include exploration of the market on that level where I get assistance in visiting the specified country and interact with the community and gather the data that I need before I then come back and go back again to then start? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ronnie, followed by Tankiso, then we take the responses. Ronnie. Okay, so I'm not sure if there's anybody behind Ronnie's hand. So let's go to Tankiso quickly. I think we must lower the hand for Ronnie because we are not getting anybody speaking. Thank you, so.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
I apologize. I'm actually driving, but I really want to raise a question. I was part of the trade program for this year in April with the GIZ to Germany. I did manage to get contact and become and sign a SADC license with the company from Germany to manufacture for them locally. I am struggling on the other side, so to get financing with regards to it, and also further exporting maybe to other local countries in SADC. And I am also doing my own other products. Unfortunately, I was venturing into a different industry that I'm not 100% familiar with. But I did I did attend some training online. I did visit the factory. It's quite a simple product that they're doing in the biogas space. I've done importing with my company. We're an ISO 9000 certified company. We manufacture toilet paper and would really like to explore SADC market, especially where there's already trade relationships between South Africa and Zimbabwe and so on. But it's been so hard to tap into that space, and there's been a lot of negative. I think PR around supplying SADC countries when it comes to safety, security of the goods and so on. But I like the idea that there is insurance that is included in that. But yeah, so I think I have two questions pretty much. I don't know whether they came across, or should I make them a bit more clearer with you?
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you. I'll go through the questions that I have picked up. I'll start with yours. Thank you, so. The first one is around your manufacturing for German countries, and you're looking for financing to support that. And the second one is you're looking for market access support for exporting to the SADC countries. Nompumelelo Sidu is looking at any support in doing market exploration to countries that she's considering entering into. Then Joy Msizi, it's the market readiness training. She has been trying to access entry into that particular program. And finally, Tulani Nzaba is in the milling space and is looking at importing machinery directly as an individual or an entity from China, and also exploring opportunities to grow his market in the DRC space. So it's really a lot of market access as well as the financing one and the financing, market access. So if I can just hand over to the speakers, I imagine the financing one, it sounded like it's something that Portia would be touching on. I'm not sure, Portia, if you wanted to deal with Dankiso's question around the toilet.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, so if you are exporting, starting point is speaking to your bankers if you need finance, especially if you're manufacturing for exports. So that's the working capital facilities that we were talking about, and you can reach out to us. We find out who your bankers are, and we can start the conversation there. So we would provide cover to the bank that's providing the working capital so that it just reduces your cost of financing if that helps. And we would need to see the details of the export contract, as well as the profile of the buyer, perhaps whatever additional information you would be able to issue to us regarding the exports.
Lebo, you're muted.
Sorry, Lebo. Yeah.
You're muted.
Thank you for that. I'm well known to speak while muted. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think other than the one around importing a vehicle, I think all the other questions really pertain to what is going to be discussed in our second portion of discussions, which are around the market access, the EMIA conversations, and the export desk support. So what I was probably going to suggest is the do we have that importing of the vehicle? It was already passed.
Lebo.
I'm listening.
Can I come in at Kolani's question? There's a question where Kolani is asking about importing machinery on its own from China. Yes, Kolani, it's possible to import the machine on your own from China, provided you are registered with customs at SARS, wherein you'll have an imports code. And obviously, with the assistance of the clearing agent of your own that you choose, that will clear your product when it reaches the destination, whether by sea, by air, but the goods need to be cleared. So you can import on your own, provided you do have those import registration certificate that you obtain from the customs division at SARS. The other portion of the question was related to the market access. Where do you get access for the tissues or the product that you're manufacturing? Like I indicated to the previous participant, that we do have a unit that assists with the market under the Black Industrialist scheme that deals with the market, whether domestically. And they also work hand in hand with other colleagues at the trade branch that can identify market in the international or in the continent. So if you send your question in there so that we're able to have base on that and we're able to assist. With regard to funding, in the next coming 3 speakers from the DTIC, there is an official who will be talk about the DTI incentive, that it also include grant, and I believe that's part of funding that we talk about. So there's so many incentives that the DTIC have. So, but let's wait for Mr. Mahlatsi Mothapo to really unpack all the incentive as to how do you qualify as an entrepreneur to get funding from the DTIC. So the DTIC, yes, do provide funding, and there's a number of people who have been assisted by the DTIC over a number of years in various programs that include your agro-processing, your ADEP, your Black Industrialist, your the recent now, the manufacturing incentive program that has just been launched some time ago. I just forget the name, but there is a program that deals with manufacturing program, and it's also part of the funding. So let's wait for Mr. Mahlatsi Mothapo, who will come and unpack that. Maybe just to move to Joy Msizi. I hear your concern, and that I've noted it very well, about emails that you're given and you send an email and nobody responds to that particular email. And my sincere apology for that. But the email that I gave to you, it's well monitored on a daily basis. And there is a report that we generate on a monthly basis as to how many emails did we receive, how many inquiries did we receive to that export-related email, and did we resolve that particular email? So I don't want to say I respond to email better than any other officials from the DTIC, but I want to give you a shot that once you send an email there, we will definitely attend to your email, or send forward your email to the relevant officials, and you will be copied in there. So in terms of the program, the GEPP program, I heard you mentioned that you went to visit the Western Cape Regional Office, and to date you have not attended a GEPP program. I'll also want you to send an email to that so that we look at the available slot, because we are now rolling out the Global Export Passport Program to all the provinces. In the past week, I'm quite confident to share with you that we're in the Northern Cape, in Springbok, and some of the colleagues were there rolling out the GEPP program. In the next coming 2 weeks, colleagues will be also in Bloemfontein, colleagues will also be in KZN, and I believe even this week, there are colleagues who are out rolling out the Global Export Passport Program, which you need to complete the particular forms. The screening need to be done so that you do qualify to be part of that particular training. So please drop an email. I will personally attend to it and ensure that I give you the forms. So when there's an available slot in your province or in your region, you're able to be assisted. Jumping into Nombumelo's question. Nombumelelo, you indicated that you need assistance in terms of identifying certain market. Mr. Bekingubeni, he will come in. During his presentation, I want to encourage Becky to touch on the PMR, Primary Market Research. That is a program that the DTI do offer in terms of companies that want to go in certain countries and conduct a PMR. So we do have that particular offering, and Becky, you will support me on that, or you will rectify me into that particular program if the program is no longer there. But as far as I know, people are being assisted to conduct the primary market research to any part of the country that they want to conduct business in. Ronnie, your question did not come through. And with Tankiso Lebu, can you refresh me with Tankiso? I think I did not jot it down while he was talking because there was some echo in the vehicle, so I could not hear anything.
Okay, so the outstanding question for Tankiso is around exporting to SADC countries.
Okay.
In doing that, thank you.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that it's unfortunately that the colleague that was supposed to talk about Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is also it was also going to touch on the SADC region. But however, drop us an email. We will definitely liaise with the colleagues at the trade branch that will handhold you and take you through the process in terms of how do you penetrate the market into the SADC region. So if you drop us an email, we would gladly to assist you in that particular question. Thank you. I think, Level, we need to move a little bit. We safe to say we close with the first question of Q&As, and thank you so much to everyone who participated into this Q&As. We are left with quite critical presenters, speakers from the DTIC, who will give you an insight, knowledge about the export marketing investment assistance with regard to the individual participation. How do I participate in exporting as an individual? How do the DTIC assist me as an individual to really export? The following speaker will be Mr. Beki Ngubeni, who has been with the DTIC for quite a number of years, safe to say over 15 years, dealing with a number of individual participation, dealing with a number of programs, which are the sector-specific assistance scheme, the individual participation, the primary market research, and just to mention a few programs. So Becky, he will really take you through in terms of how do you qualify as an individual when you've identified the market in a place of your own choice, and how do you get assistance from the DTI, whether in a monetary value or non-monetary value incentive. Without really wasting much of your time, I would really like to, Becky is already on the floor. I would really like to give Becky a platform to really take through our participants in this matter. Mr. Ngubeni, the floor is yours.
You are muted.
Mr. Ngubeni, you are muted. Still muted, Mr. Ngubeni. Mr. Stolle, are we able to sort him out quickly? Just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ngubeni is still trying to sort out his mic, then he will be on the floor.
Brindani, through you, I just thought maybe we can just thank our speakers who had presented so far on the program. Some of them may have to leave because of other engagements. So just before they leave, we just wanted to thank you very much for sharing that invaluable insights, guidance to all of our participants on the program. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Mr. Manant?
Yes, Mr. Ngubeni, you are on now.
Look,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had to compromise. I'm literally using my phone now. That I will share with I'll use the phone just so that I can be able to communicate, because I can see that with my tablet I can't. But safe to say, good afternoon to our participants. Good afternoon to the colleagues. As you have introduced myself, I'm Bheki Ngubeni. I'm representing the Export Market Investment Assistance. In short, it's EMIA under the individual participation. The scheme, it's basically designed to assist South African companies to develop markets for their products and export market for their product and services, to register their products in foreign market, to register for your patent, to do quality marks registration, to do product testing. When you're ready to get that service or that product, we are the people to talk to. The objective, as we say, it's to provide marketing assistance for existing and new companies, to provide marketing assistance for developing, for growing your export or your new export. We also give assistance for companies that want to identify new export markets, companies to improve their competitiveness in the foreign countries. We also provide assistance in facilitating the foreign direct investment. I think I had one of the participants saying they met somebody from German company, and they need funding, and the particular company wants to set up a factory in South Africa. The EMIA export, EMIA assistance, it's there to provide assistance, just to ensure that we can get the companies or the representative from that company, for example, from that German company, to come into South Africa, with the aim that you can secure, they can sign the contracts, they can access the area. But I'll go through the programs that we are offering under the Export Market Investment Assistance individual participation. Overall, these are the EMIA offerings. The first column there, my colleague Mrs. Mashele will be presenting. I'm going to present the middle column under the 3 bullet points there, which is the individual exhibition and in-store promotion, the primary market research and foreign direct investment, as Mr. Manenze have insisted that and we need to dwell more on the primary market research and foreign direct investment. Lastly, I'll touch base on the individual inward-bound mission. Thereafter will be the document requirements, the turnaround times, and then the processes that you need to follow to apply, under the EMIA scheme, individual participation scheme. The last column, it's specifically that is divided into 2. There's what we call sector-specific assistance. We're not going to talk much about it, but what is the case here? We also encourage your investment promotion agencies, like your Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, like your Gauteng Development Agency, your Free State Development Corporation, your Wine of South Africa, your industry associations, we encourage them to say, bring at least a minimum of 10 emerging exporters that you group together, that they can come and apply through the sector-specific assistance scheme to attend exhibitions, internationally recognized exhibitions. And then the last bullet there under the last column, which is capital project feasibility study. This is just for South African companies that are intending to do feasibility study in foreign markets. For example, you might have a company that wants to do a coal mining in Zambia. We assist with the feasibility study assistance. As I said, I'm representing the individual participation, and my colleague, Ms. Mashele, will be speaking more on group participation. So what's the difference here is under the individual participation, there's two processes. You're gonna have to identify the market that you believe your business will be successful at. You do an application with us. Then secondly, once you're done with that, you're gonna have to come back now and do a claim. So here you get to incur the cost first. You attend the event, or you go to you meet up your potential clients, or you pay for your patent registration. After that, you're gonna have to come back now and do the claim. That's one of the difference, because under the group participation, generally the DTI gets to do everything for you. That's the difference. For you to qualify or to be eligible to qualify for the benefits of the EMIA, you need to have a product or you need to provide services. If you can be an outsourcing company, you can be a commission agent, you can be a sport trading house, you can be an export council can apply, industry association, joint action group, they can apply. When we talk about export trading house and commission agents, we're referring to companies that should at least have three companies. In fact, an organization that represents at least three manufacturers. Those would be defined as the sport trading house or commission agent. Your export councils, and I know Mr. Allenbeck mentioned that we do work with export councils. We consider them as eligible entities. Industry association and joint action group, these are the organizations that share common production or common goal in terms of manufacturing. We do consider them. Yes, we somehow mentioned the issue of priority sector, but things have changed since then. We do accommodate companies that manufacture or provide services. Conditions that are mandatory should be PE compliant up to level 8. Should be tax compliant, should be in business at least more than one financial year. Your applications, they need to be submitted at least 3 months before the event date. What I mean by that, we on the 5th of November today, if you need to apply for the EMIA assistance, your event should be happening at least 3 February. Yes, it should be happening at least 3 February. So for any events that happen in 3 February, today will be your last day to apply. You can do that at least 6 months before. That will be sometime in August. You can apply for that particular. But I'm hoping, probably in the next financial year, we will reduce the time period that it takes to do the applications, because we have since improved. We now have a system that we're using to process applications and claims. The individual participation. Hello?
Interrupt, Becky. Can you please put your slides on presentation mode? Just click on the presentation button.
No. Sure. There we are.
So much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Much visible, I guess. All right. We have individual exhibition where we give assistance for internationally recognized exhibitions within the borders of South Africa. Also worldwide, we give assistance for companies. We encourage companies to apply to attend those exhibitions, either within South Africa, like your Design Indaba. It's an international recognized show. There's FoodX and that is in Japan. We give assistance to companies. We to say, look, you can come and apply. And then the second that we offer It's what we call individual in-store promotion. The individual in-store promotion, though we hardly get an intake from this, but we encourage South African companies to apply with us at least a minimum of a group of 5 or more that they can apply to showcase their product. The example that I usually provide would be your shop catalog if they advertise a bed. When you notice, they will be advertising the bed, but there will be your duvet cover, there will be your pillowcase, there will be your side lamp, there will be your headlamp, there will be your mat. Sometimes there will even be stools. Those are different products from different companies. So under the in-store promotion, this is what we encourage to say. Those that have products that are linked to each other, they can come and apply to the DTIC to jointly go to a showroom house or to a specific shop in a foreign market and advertise their products. I think one of those examples, I'm not sure if I'll be promoting the company, but there is a company in South Africa. They sell, when they sell their furniture, you can buy one chair from them. They usually not going to be able to buy the whole set. I know when you buy your furniture, sometimes it will be 6-piece, but now I know they will say, okay, you can have one chair, and they will have that display, the chair, the tablecloth, the flower pot. They sell them separately. So this is what we're trying to encourage under the individual in-store promotion. The talk of the day would be this one under mutual participation, the primary market research and foreign direct investment. The primary market research, it's broken down into 2, well, maybe 3. Firstly, we say if you have potential customers in a foreign market, we encourage you to apply through the primary research to meet up with those potential customers, also with the aim that you're going to recruit. Usually, what will normally happen after we attend the exhibition, usually you have to do follow-ups with those potential clients. So under the foreign market research, this is where we say you can come and apply through us and go and meet up with your potential clients or with the aim that you want to recruit new markets. And also under the primary research, CUM foreign direct investment, we encourage that you can actually invite those potential clients to come into the country with the aim that maybe they will secure the contract, also to make arrangement in terms of transportation, also for them to satisfy themselves if you're in compliance with whatever standards that might be available in that particular country. We encourage that you can use this foreign direct investment. Also, the primary market research, you can basically link it to an exhibition. Basically, you can go and attend an exhibition, and thereafter you can link that to meet up with your potential clients. Obviously, that will have pre-arranged meetings that you will have done. We say you can use this PMR. And secondly, it's the conference. If you're gonna be a speaker with the aim that you're gonna market your product or you're gonna improve the export sales of your product or services, as a speaker, we say we can provide assistance through the primary market research. And the last part, it's the registration of patents, the trademarks, the quality marks. This is not limited to these 3 points that I'm mentioning: patent, trademarks, and quality marks. We do product testing. For example, the cosmetic products, they need compliance before you can even sell them in the European market or in the US market. And also, there could be product certification. For example, one of the success stories here was around the avocados. If you take them to Netherlands, for example, they might say you need to have a certain certificate or certification to certify them that your product is not harmful or is free from any harmful substances, whatever the case might be. We give support through the primary market research. Overall, the subsistence, the assistance that we would provide would be the aggregate. Of course, there would be limits, your daily subsistence, printing of marketing material, paying for the exhibition, the stand design. Additionally, if you're a person with disability, we do give assistance. But as we go through our slides, you'll see, the maximum amounts. It's not all that is covered, but you want to see the maximum amounts that we provide for this assistance. Also, what we need to emphasize here is as my colleague Ms. Mashayla is going to talk about the group participation, is that when there's group participation, the EMIA individual participation is not gonna give assistance when there's a group participation. And I know there's one event that happened recently in Africa. We're not gonna give assistance. I spoke about the PMR and FDI. The criteria, we're going to share this thing. I'm not going to read everything here. We also say at least you need to have two confirm appointments per day for you to qualify for the subsistence allowance. You will need to have a confirmation that you're going to be a speaker and you're going to be focusing on accessing new market or exploring new markets for your product or services. This is in summary what is provided under the primary market research. We do the visiting, the appointments, we do the link to the exhibition conference speaker, and the product registration or product testing in the foreign market. These are just what we pay. We have maximum of 10 days that is covered under the PMR. If you're gonna do the appointments, it's covered under you're gonna cater the subsistence allowance up to 10 days. We need to see the confirm email or letters to say you have appointments to meet up with your potential client, and then in your application you're gonna have to provide us with your itinerary, contact details of the planned visits. Product registration, we need to see, you need to detail to us what is it that you want to register, and maybe a brief summary, what are the requirements in that particular country. And we also, as I said, it's not limited to other three that I mentioned. You can do product labeling, yes, product certification, product testing, because some of these places you need to do testing. By product testing, because this is basically mostly in your cosmetic industry. We expect that you'll be able to provide us with invoices, detailed invoices to explain what the process that is going to involve in the product testing. It can be done here in South Africa. It can be done in that particular country that you're targeting. Conference speaker spoke about this. These are some of the assistance financially that we provide. They're common across. It's 20,000 for the air ticket, maximum 20,000. DTI covers 100% up to 20,000. So it can happen that your ticket is 22,000. You're gonna be responsible for the 2,000 difference. Subsistence allowance across the board. If you individual exhibition or in-store promotion, it's maximum of 3,000 rand per day. Up to 10 days that DTI is going to assist. Their subsistence is basically for your transport, your ground transport, to cover for your food, to cover for your hotel accommodation. It's not 100% that we're saying we want to cover everything, but this is us partially giving assistance to. Then there's marketing material. The product registration, it has conditions. We cover up to 18 months. There's 6 months prior to you getting the approval. Also, let me just share this. All our applications, they go through an education committee that happens every Wednesday fortnightly. Like today, we supposed to have that meeting. When I say when you approve to 6 months, it means when the adjudication committee approves your application, we're going to calculate invoices 6 months, dating back from today, for example, and 18 months going forward. This is the maximum of 300,000. It's a cost sharing. DTI will pay up to 300,000. but we share 50%. We pay 50% of whatever that incurs the cost towards registering your product or doing a product testing. We cater for invoices that span over a period of 18 months. Additionally, this is what we cover for persons with disability. If you are a person with disability, we DTI will definitely give assistance. But remember, these are costs that you incur, and we would only be able to reimburse you once you're done. Obviously, it was mentioned, record keeping is important. So we need proof that you participated, you paid for the ticket. But all that information is available on our guidelines on our website. And I'm not going to say much about this one, usually not bound mission. We do have that. It's in support of the FDI that I mentioned in the other slides. This is just to assist your potential buyer to move around for accommodation, for the ticket, car rental. We encourage our participant that maybe at some point they will have to apply using the inward bound mission. The application process, it's online. This is an email address. Everything's done online. You're going to have to upload documents. We're very strict. For now, you need to submit your applications 3 months before the commencement date of the event or the start date of the event. These are all the documents that we expect that should be the compulsory, the generic, the compulsory. You need to submit them. Your independently reviewed financial statements, your export marketing plan. But I know that as we engage with the Global Exporters Passport Program, these are some of I believe these are some of the information or documents that they'll be informed with their compulsory and need to have all of them. I spoke about the BE compliance up to level 8. Quotations as the Public Finance Management Act, we need 3 quotations for that ticket. If you're going to have to do the freight, the agreement for commission agent or export trading house, we need to have those 3 agreements. Outsource agreement, if you do outsource your manufacturing processes, we're gonna have to provide your additionally this outsource agreement. PMR, work itinerary, confirm appointment. These are all the documents that you're gonna have to upload on the system that I mentioned, the OIS system. I spoke about the process. I encourage that first go through our website, get the guideline. There's going to be an email, if you have any queries, go through, register on our OIS portal. And then these are all the steps up to the adjudication committee. Then once it gets to a adjudication committee, which will either reject, refer back, or approve. But if it's approved, then this is the next step. You're gonna have to attend your exhibition, or you're gonna have to do your PMR, or gonna register your product. Once you're done, you can come back and do this following process, the claim process. This is our contact details, general EMIA queries. This is our contact details. We will be sharing this presentation, but any queries regarding the EMIA individual participation, that's going to be the contact details. Then lastly, my name is Ngubeni. That's my official number. That's my official email. I can be reached on 060-753-1888 or at my email bengubeni@dtic.gov.za. For any other queries about what the services and the products that DTI offers, that's our number, that's our email address. Mr. Mutape will also go through all these services, the incentives that are offered through the TTI. We are situated in Pretoria, Sunnyside. Sadly, due to some challenges that we encountered recently, it's always preferable that you make an appointment to come and meet us, but you can always walk through. But yeah, because of that incident, there might be a challenge. But yeah, we are based in Sunnyside, Pretoria at Block A. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Okay, Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ngubeni. I think I was going through the chat. You have clarified a lot of inquiries that people have with regard to the market as to how do I attend a show internationally as an individual. What is the fee? How do I qualify? So you've clarified a number of issues, and I really want to take this opportunity and thank you so much. I think you will be on the platform so that the two last speakers, when they're done with the presentation, then you're able to take questions relating to EMIA individual participation. And thank you so much for covering all other sub programs that are within EMIA. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Manent.
Okay, Lebo? I was still good. Okay. Muted Lebo as usual. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, all right. Yeah. Allow me, Lebo, to invite Ms. Shalati Mashele. You will notice, ladies and gentlemen, that what Ms. Shalati Mashele will be sharing, it's more or less related with what Becky was sharing, but there's a synergy in their presentation, but slightly different to say. The other's talking about the individual, the other one is talking about the group mission. Ms. Mashele has been with the DTIC for quite some time, safe to say over 2 decades, dealing with the export marketing investment assistance. And she's quite helpful to those who are saying they've sent an email and did not answer. With her, I've experienced a different person. She does really respond to inquiries and email. Having said that, Ms. Mashele, thank you to be on the platform. I would really like to invite you to take the podium and run with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and I really appreciate as well an opportunity today to share with our delegates. My name is Charlotte Mashele, as I've already introduced by the Program Director. I'm not going to talk much about the definition of the scheme and the objectives because Becky has already done so in terms of defining what is this export marketing and investment assistance scheme, and as well as the objectives. So maybe I would just highlight a few. As we know, the scheme has been introduced or developed by the DTIC in order to promote South African goods and services internationally. So the objectives really is to strengthen the export capacity of South African firms and also to increase the visibility of our products globally. And this will then lead to foster the trade partnerships and attract foreign buyers or foreign investors. So the difference, this scheme is currently administered in 2 divisions. I am coming from exports and Becky is from incentive financing branch. So the difference between how we administer the scheme under exports at the beginning of each financial year. Sorry, I'm hearing myself. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, because I was getting the feedback, I was just hearing myself. All right, so I was still indicating that the scheme is currently administered within the 2 branches at the DTIC. So the difference between how we administer the schemes under group participation, which is where I'm coming from, exports. At the beginning of each financial year, we will have a list of events that we are going to take South African businesses to expose their products and or services. And then under individual participation, as you have heard my colleague Becky mention, that you need to identify a market for your product. So under export, there is a team within the branch which is called export promotion. So we've got regional managers who are responsible to identify markets for South African goods and services. So they will also motivate the events that we can participate at in order to showcase South African goods and services. So at the beginning of each financial year, then there will be a list of events, then it will be sent to different stakeholders as well as the companies that we do have their contact details so that they can see or identify a show which they would like to go and participate in order to market their products. So the tools that we are currently utilizing, as I've mentioned, that it's more into the exhibition. We've got a national pavilion. I believe that those who had an opportunity to be part of our delegations, they do understand and know what is a national pavilion. It's a dedicated exhibition space built by a country to showcase its capabilities in terms of the innovation, technology, trade and investment opportunities. We just had a symposium of which it was held in Gallagher Estate, where South African businesses were awarded an opportunity to showcase their products. So, and then we also use trade missions, of which it's organized usually by government or business organizations such as our export councils or industry association, where businesses will be awarded an opportunity to promote trade or investment opportunities. I'm not going to dwell much under individual participation because my colleague has already mentioned that now you know how to approach them, and also if you want to be part of the individual participation, you know all the processes to follow in order to get assistance. And then primary market research, as my colleague has already mentioned, is a process of collecting first-hand data directly from your target audience. As we all know that before you can even start a business, you need to identify your customers, and you also need to know what influences their decision in order to buy your product. So primary market research will also assist you in doing that. The project funding, I think he has already mentioned to you exactly what is planning to achieve there. So I'm not going to dwell much because it's under individual participation. However, under group participation, we are using national pavilions and trade missions in order to promote South African goods and services. So within the trade missions, we've got an outward missions where we are taking businesses from South Africa to an international market, or we invite foreign buyers or investors to come into our country. We just had an IBM which was happening in Cape Town, where we invited buyers or investors from different countries that are within the agro-processing sector, because IBM, the Cape one, it was basically focusing more into the agro-processing. So we invited buyers in order to come so that they can buy from your businesses. And then support under EMIA, as my colleague has mentioned, we provided the financial support towards the travel cost, exhibition and marketing cost. So I just want to plead with you, before you can even go to individual participation, come to our branch, because we will be assisting you in order to get all the logistical arrangements so that here you don't have to do anything. All you need to do, once you have submitted your application and it has been approved, all you need to do is to pack your products, your suitcase, you make sure your passport is ready, you've got the visa, then off you go. So under individual participation, if you are new into exporting, it tends to be difficult because you have to ensure that you appoint a stand builder, a freight forwarder, you do your marketing, you also do your branding. However, under a group participation, we've got a dedicated team that is responsible to do that. So it will be wise for emerging exporters to start with our branch before they can go to individual participation to seek for assistance. As I've mentioned, we assist with both setup and branding. So what do we basically do? We pay for the space where you will be exhibiting, and then we source out the quotation in terms of the stand building and the branding of your stand. So these tools will also even assist you to assess, to have an access to trade intelligence or business matchmaking. Because when you are, let's say you have participated under a national pavilion, some of you know that you will then interact with your business counterpart on the other side. It will also even offer you an opportunity to collect some of the trade intelligence, like you check your competitors, how they are pricing their products and how they are branding their products, or how they are how they are branding their products, and also how they market their product. And then I've mentioned that we do assist in terms of the administrative and logistical support. So here you don't have to do anything. You just take whatever your bags and your products to an event. So the requirements, I think here he also mentioned that we support companies that are registered with the CIPC. That is number one. So if your business is not legally registered, unfortunately, you cannot be assisted. So you need to ensure that your business is registered and you have those documents, because during the application stage, you will be required to submit the CIPC document. And your business has to be at least in business for a period of a year. And then we also need a brochure of your company's product. If you are manufacturing, we want to see what you are manufacturing. If you are providing a service, then you will also indicate what service are you providing. And then we need a tax compliance certificate. I believe that all of us, we know that dealing with state, or if you want to tap into a public funding, you need to be in good standing with SARS. So we need that tax compliance. And then the BEE certificate, you also need to submit a BEE. We are trying so hard to ensure that our economy transforms. So the focus, we are focusing more into supporting the previously disadvantaged companies, the companies that were not even allowed to tap into the economic activities. So we need that BEE certificate. The financial statement, so it's a requirement. I was also looking at, I think this first presenter, one of their requirements as well, it was a financial statement. This is key because it gives comfort, especially to the funders as well as government, to know that the company that we are funding, that indeed in operating, it's an ongoing business, because we don't want to find a company that is in a verge of closing their doors. So we require a financial statement, but from our side, what we usually focus on is just to check the assets of the business, as well as the turnover and the number of employees. And we are checking this in order to determine the amount that we can support that entity. As I've indicated, that the focus is more into transformation. So if your company has been classified as an SMME, even the benefits are more than the benefits that we provide for other size companies, the big companies. So you also need to have your import and export registration certificate. You had our colleague from ITAC. There are certain products that you cannot just export or import without getting a permit. So, but for us, if you are to attend a national pavilion or an exhibition, because you will take some of your exhibition material to the show, when we declare at the customs, they capture it as an export. And if we indicate that it's exhibition materials, then it means it will be recorded as an export, and they're expecting those materials to come back into the country. So this certificate, it will also assist SARS Custom to know which products are belonging, to know these products, and also to know the company that the products belong to. So it's very key that you need to have that certificate, and I understand it's free of charge, so it can be obtained from SARS Customs. And then a copy of a passport, as I've indicated, the focus is more into promoting South African goods and services outside the borders of South Africa. So we need a copy of a passport. So in terms of support, we are supporting one representative per company. However, if a company realize, or if a company can afford to send 10 or 15 people at their own cost, they are more than welcome to do so. But the funding that will come from the DTI will be supporting one representative per company. So it is very key that you send someone who has an authority. Should it happen that they enter into a contract that side, or signed a contract, it has to be someone who has an authority. And then the images, we request this for branding, because you will have your individual booth where you will be displaying your products. So we need those pictures in order to brand your stand. And then with the 3 codes, export marketing plan, list of confirmed meetings, these are applicable under individual participation. As I've mentioned earlier on, that under exports, there is a team that is responsible to ensure that they obtain this on your behalf. And if you are an outsourcing companies, then we need to have the signed agreement. The sectors that we are currently supporting, I would basically say that we are supporting all the sectors except for tourism, because they also have a similar scheme as this one. So as you can see, all the economic sectors are supported. And then how to apply for EMIA funding. Applicant have to submit their application if you want to participate under National Pavilion at least 5 months prior to the event. And with the group missions, you had my colleague Becky said that now is 3 months prior. So under group missions, it's 2 months prior to the event. And then all application has to be forwarded via EMIA. We are unfortunately not having an online system as yet. However, we are working on it. So currently all the application has to be submitted via email, and applications will then be acknowledged within 48 hours. And complete applications will evaluated, then subsequently presented to the adjudication committee for approval. So the committee sits twice per month. So that's where they will decide as to whether you are approved or not approved. Successful or unsuccessful applicants will then be also notified. And if you wish to appeal, and definitely I believe that a company that will appeal, it means the outcome is not positive. So such a request has to be forwarded to the director responsible for EMIA. And again, we reserve the right to decline qualifying entities due to budget constraint. So on a yearly basis, we are provided a budget of which it can accommodate a specific number of companies. So in some instances, we won't be able to support everyone. So you may find that you meet the criteria, but however, because we don't have enough funds to cover your company or the expenses with regards to your company, then you will be declined based on that. Under group participation, as I've said, that we do everything, but we do get entities that prefers to book their own accommodation. So we allow them to do so, and then after they return from the event, then they will have to submit a claim form. So the claim form, together with all the supporting documentation, has to be forwarded to the email address as provided there. And they also need to attach the following supporting documentation. So once an application has been approved, there will be a letter, we call it an approval letter, which will be forwarded to a company indicating that their application was successful, and therefore the DTI has granted them so much towards accommodation, and then for exhibition, freight forwarding, the ground transport, it will be indicated in that particular letter. So if you opt to book your own accommodation, then they will indicate the amount that was approved for accommodation. So currently we are offering businesses 3,500 per day, which will go towards accommodation and ground transport if you are attending an event outside South Africa. So we will require that approval letter, and it has to be signed because it's a contract between the DTIC and the business. A copy of a passport, that page that shows the personal details, and here the personal details or the passport that we require, it has to be for the company, for the person who represented the company. So a copy of the entry and departure date stamp from the local airports, which will be OR Tambo if you are departing from Johannesburg, or Cape Town if you will be in Cape Town, and King Shaka if you are departing from KZN. And then the copy of the boarding passes, the copy of SARS compliance PIN, as I've indicated, even during the application, it has to be in, and then the copy of a valid BEE certificate. So for instance, also, if you prefer to book your own ticket, we also give you a provision to do so. So if you have purchased the ticket as well, then you need to submit a copy of the e-ticket and supply us with the proof of payment in the form of bank statement for that ticket. And we also require a proof of a bank account. There will be a form that will come from the DTIC. We call it a supplier maintenance form, of which is a national treasury regulation regulations, where they indicate that each and every company that is getting assistance from the DTIC, they need to complete that form where they specify their banking details. And before we can process any payment, we've got a system, of which is a system that comes from Treasury as well, where we verify the banking details. So the system is linked to all the banks in South Africa. So before we can process, we need to ensure that your banking details has been verified by the bank to say, yes, these banking details are for this particular company. This has been implemented in order to curb fraud and corruption. As you know, that this is what we, especially government, are being targeted when it comes to fraud. So these are the documents that we require if you are submitting a claim after the event. And sometimes you may experience delay in terms of the payment of your claim. Usually we also experience a delay, especially when it comes to the verification of the banking details. Because when you capture your banking details in that supplier form, it has to match the information that the bank has. So if there is any letter or you change your company, but you did not go to, you change your company name, but you did not go to the bank and update, then it won't confirm. And again, with SARS as well, we cannot process if the status is non-compliant. So we wait for it to be compliant. So it is very key that each and every time you check your status to see if you are still compliant with SARS. And then the conditions, we do have few conditions where we said all applicants that are getting assistance from the DTIC, You will be then expected to submit a report 6 months after the event. So these reports are very critical in assessing the performance or the impact of the scheme. So the information is collected in order to inform us in terms of the future planning and also to report to Parliament or to support the funding request to the National Treasury. As you know, this is a grant that comes from National Treasury. So the participant who failed to submit the report will then be excluded from accessing EMIA funding for a period of 2 years. And then in addition, we will also conduct site visit in order to verify the information that you have submitted during the application stage as to whether it was correct or establish the manufacturing processes or as well as to establish if the company exists or not. And then this is my last slide in my presentation where I've got the contact details of the responsible officials. And then I just want to make a disclaimer. The lady Busisi passed on and I forgot to update this slide. My apologies. However, for individual participation, you can then contact the details that my colleague Becky has highlighted in his presentation. So for group participation, then we've got our director, Mr. Mahi, the 2 deputy directors for group missions, and myself. And then this leads then to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Mashele, for explaining what does EMIA group participation mean. And to be quite honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen a number of companies participating under these EMIA programs. As I'm talking to you, there are companies, over 32 companies that have been assisted by the DTIC under this EMIA that are in, is it in Shanghai, Ms. Michelle, that are in China? Yes,
it's running from today until the 11th. Yes, they're in China.
And trust me, the small, medium companies, what they bring is only their bags and their clothes. That's it. And the other medium-sized companies, yes, you do spend in the accommodation and the likes, but their flight and everything will be covered. What I like it is when you ensure them that there will be some reimbursement when they return, provided they write a report, because we really need to see how did you perform during those particular shows? Did you come along with any other trade? Because it forms part and parcel of our statistics and reporting at the end of the day. So I really like this kind of programs, and I really want to encourage the participants that are in here. I was just going through the list, and I've seen a number of companies that have been assisted, and they have been traveling to Egypt, some of them this year. Some of them they've been in China in the very same year, assisted by the very same Department of Trade and Industry and Competition. So I really want to encourage you guys, if you have not really participate in one of the national pavilions or outward mission supported by the DTIC, I really want to make sure that I really want to encourage you to ensure that you really put your house together and make sure that you do comply so that you participate in the next coming events. She does indicate that we do publish the list of national pavilions and some of the missions that we do have. So once you saw this opportunity, please make sure that you put your house in order and you do apply. Level, are we together?
Yes, we are. Thank you very much. We are.
Yes. Yes. Any comment before we move to the very last and important speaker? You know, when somebody comes to talk about finance, how do we fund your company? how do we give you grant? I hope this one, everybody will really want to listen to it, because we are now talking to the finance part of it. How do the DTIC fund? Any comment before we introduce Mr. Mahlatse Mothapo?
A very interesting anecdotal story. I used to work for the enterprise organization at the DTIC, and one of our responsibilities back then, which is still very important, I would imagine today, was to explain the value of the incentives and the grants. And back then it was around 2002, was appreciating how many South Africans, especially from previously disadvantaged backgrounds, were not aware of the free money that's available from the DTIC. It's free in the sense that when you come to grants, there's only portions that you repay back, and it's invaluable support for making sure that your business scales. So we're really looking forward to hearing what all the incentives and the grants are that are available from the incentive and grant space. So I hope everybody's got their pen and paper ready to take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you, Rendani.
Okay. Yes, we used to call that Unit TEO, the enterprise organization, where you get all your grant, whether you're in the services or you're in the manufacturing space. With the change of time now, we call it IDET. Mr. Mahlatse will explain what does that mean. And yeah, I must say the number of companies still benefiting from that through various programs that I indicated, the aquaculture, the IDEP, the agro-processing, the black industrialist, the manufacturing support program. So there's a number of programs that Mr. Mothapo will really outline and really give the public confidence about those particular programs, and as to how do you qualify, how much do you qualify for those particular programs. Without really wasting much of time, I would really like to invite Mr. Mahlatse Mothapo from the DTIC incentive branch to really take the floor and take through the programs that we have within the DTIC. Mr. Mothapo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Rendan and Lebo. My name is Mahlatse Mothapo from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition under the incentive branch. I know my colleague Rendan said IDET. Then we have since moved from IDET to incentive branch.
My apology.
Yes. Yeah, no, we keep on changing names. But we are still doing the same thing. Perhaps to touch on what the incentive branch is all about. This is the branch within the DTIC that is responsible to administer all the DTIC incentive schemes. And my role at the department is to promote the DTIC incentive programs. So these are some of the clusters that we have at the DTIC. We have about 5 clusters, but my colleagues, they have done justice to the export promotion cluster. Then I will focus on the other 3. That will be the innovation, manufacturing, and the infrastructure cluster. These are the 3 that...
Mahlatse, sorry to interrupt. Please put your slides on presentation mode for us to be able to read it better. Thank you.
Is it better now?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Then I will touch on the 3 clusters. Then the one we'll talk about innovation cluster, where we have 2 sub-programs, but I will go in details later on. Then we have the manufacturing cluster. Then under it, we have about 6 sub-programs that are currently active under the manufacturing cluster. Then we have the infrastructure cluster that have 2 components. The one that deals with the special economic zone, and the last one, it deals with the critical infrastructure program. But I'll go deep when I get to those slides. So basically, the DTIC got a number of schemes. We have just over 20 of them, the schemes and the sub-schemes. And each and every one of them, they got their own specific guidelines and qualifying criteria, which means that we don't have one size fit all kind of a thing, which is why it will help for one to engage with the DTIC before they can make the application. And the units that I come from, which is called Strategic Partnerships and Customer Care, is responsible to facilitate access to information about this program here. For those who don't know where to go or which program to choose, then we can serve as your point of entry into the DTIC. Then we'll look at what you want to do. Then from there, we'll be able to match it with some of the programs that we have here. So most of our programs here, they are offered on what we call the reimbursement basis, which means that there won't be the upfront payment, but one need to apply. Then after apply, then you can implement the project. Then thereafter, based on the percentage that we have qualified, which range between 20% to 50%, then you can be able to claim such incentive or the percentage that we have qualified back as the grant. Then we also do have what we call the cost sharing, but in most cases, the cost sharing will be mostly on the innovation cluster. That's where then you can have a cost sharing. Cost sharing meaning if you qualify for a certain percentage, because in most cases under the innovation cluster, it will be between 50 to 90%. Then you'll have to raise the balance of that. If you qualify for 90, then you'll have to raise the 10% cost. So what we support at the DTIC with these incentives